gentlemen, I am your host of Change the F Up, Nate the Effing Great, and we are talking about how I would change Divas Revolution. For those of you that missed out on it, Nikki Bella won the title from AJ Lee and has been on a dominant force, recruiting Brie Bella, Alicia Fox, and Tamina to battle against Paige, Naomi, and Becky Lynch, but also seemingly she might have recruited this masked assailant who helped Nikki, capture the Divas Championship and retain it against Paige at Money in the Bank. So we are at that point, and Paige is now saying, I want to know who this masked assailant is, and I want to find out sooner rather than later. In the meantime, the opportunity goes to Becky Lynch. So at Beast in the East, it's going to be Becky Lynch against Nikki Bella for the Divas Championship. Now, they had an added stipulation in this matchup in which Naomi and Paige are banned from ringside, as well as the Bella Army. If Naomi and Paige get involved in the matchup, then it will be an automatic disqualification, and Nikki will win and retain the title. However, if the Bella Army gets involved, then Nikki Bella will forfeit the championship to Becky Lynch at Beast in the East. So Beast in the East happens, and it seems like Becky Lynch is just about to get the title, and she locks in to disarm her. Somehow Nikki Bella is able to reverse it, and we see a little bit of meeting of the minds where, boom, Becky Lynch and the referee hit heads, and Becky Lynch locks in to disarm her again, and Nikki's tapping out like crazy until, you guessed it, the masked assailant comes in, boom, Billing Club to the back, and Becky Lynch, unfortunately, falls to the reign of Nikki Bella as well. So obviously they realize that there needs to be strength in numbers. Becky Lynch, Paige, and Naomi, they realize they need to really find somebody else who could indeed be, who can help them, even the odds. Who is going to be that person who really evens the odds and makes sure that this mission of theirs does carry out? You cue in Charlotte Flair. She makes the debut a little bit of build-up. So what we decided to do here is that we're going to actually have fortunately you guys may have guessed it, it's going to be another Divas tag match at Battleground, in which we see the Bella Army taking on the team of Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Paige, and Naomi, and the Revolution wins, in which Charlotte actually pins Nikki Bella in the middle of the ring after the natural selection, and we get the opportunity to see this masked assailant try to take out Charlotte, but Paige finds a way to go boom, boom, hit her with a rampage. They rip off the mask, and who does it turn out to be? Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks apparently has been recruited by the Bella Army to ensure that Nikki Bella indeed, hangs on to the Divas Championship, and in return, Sasha Banks is going to be given a Divas Championship matchup when she wants to, when she gets that opportunity. So they decide, and Sasha says, I want to do it at SummerSlam. Unfortunately, though, Charlotte says, hey, I'm the only one here that has actually beaten Nikki Bella, no offense to the other divas, and I'm going to get that shot at SummerSlam. So they actually have a matchup on Raw in which we see Sasha Banks versus Charlotte, where the winner goes on to face Nikki Bella for the Divas Championship at SummerSlam, and Charlotte picks up the victory. I know, it seems bad to have Sasha lose on her first night on Raw, but at the same time, she's still got to finish up her deal on NXT, and this is kind of where this is going to be writing it off. She's going to be basically lose to Charlotte, and this is going to also have her go back to NXT, and she's going to stay down on NXT until about Royal Rumble season, because then she'll be finishing up her deal with Bayley. She'll be dropping the title to her. You kind of get that where that's going, and I wouldn't change anything about that. So you kind of have Sasha more focused on there, and you're not pushing her up so fast. You're still building up, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, as well as Nikki Bella, and you're still making an incredible heel in Nikki Bella and the Bella Army. So it works out perfectly. So we move on to the to SummerSlam, in which we see a great matchup between Charlotte and Nikki Bella. And Charlotte actually locks in the figure eight on Nikki Bella. Brie actually pulls the referee out of the ring, and the referee calls for the bell just as Nikki Bella taps out. And everybody's thinking like, oh my gosh, we're going to see, a new women's champion. We saw it. The Divas Revolution has finally happened. We finally get to see Charlotte become the Divas champion until you hear the announcement, your winner of the match as a result of a disqualification, Charlotte. Therefore, still Divas champion, Nikki Bella. And of course, that again gives them massive heat. The Bella Army is again somehow surviving. They hold on to the championship. So we actually have a little bit of number one contender series in which we see Naomi, Paige, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte all going and vying for the Divas Championship. But Charlotte, in the end, gets the victory. And they set up for the matchup at Night of Champions. But if you remember, she actually was given the opportunity the week before Night of Champions. And honestly, guys, it was the best thing that they could have done. And here's what I would change about that. If you guys remember that that AJ actually lost the championship at around, I want to say 8 or 9 o'clock when she faced off against Paige the previous year. So you really want to play off that. Have them start the Bella clock like right away after SummerSlam. Have them start that, and the week before, it's getting closer and closer, and Charlotte says, I want that matchup tonight. I want to beat that clock, and I want to make sure that she does not break that record. So Stephanie grants it to her, and they give her the matchup. And Charlotte is just getting close and close and close to getting that championship. But unfortunately, the Bella Army still finds a way to distract him. But then we see Paige, Becky Lynch, and Naomi, even Diage. Yeah, it is Naomi. What am I thinking? And it gets down to the wire. It just goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She's about to lock in the figure eight until you hear that. And unfortunately, Nikki Bella beats the record for longest reigning Divas champion. And Charlotte is in total disbelief, like, I can't believe I couldn't do it. But then she also realizes she's still in the middle of the matchup. So she starts to beat down Nikki Bella. She just goes crazy. She hits the natural selection and locks in the figure eight. And she just locks it in so much that it basically looks like Nikki Bella is just going to break her leg. And Nikki Bella taps out. And Charlotte, it takes a while before she finally lets go of the hold. Charlotte becomes the Divas champion. And the following SmackDown, she actually says that it's time to drop the charade and drop this championship where it belongs. She's about to drop it in the trash until Nikki says, I want my rematch at Night of Champions, so don't you dare think about doing anything because I'm going to win that back. So Nikki Bella gets her rematch at Night of Champions and unfortunately falls short. Charlotte retains. The following night on Raw, we get to see Charlotte continue what she wanted to do. She throws the Divas Championship into the trash, saying that we are not divas, we are not going to be stereotyped just because of our looks and our bodies, and because of that, we are our true women of wrestling, and that is why it is now the Women's Championship. Out comes Alundra Blaze with a classic Women's Championship. I'm not talking about a classic, I'm talking about the Women's Championship design before they unified the Women's and the Divas Championship. And now, hang on. I know a lot of people liked the new, recreated Women's Championship, but the problem is, yeah, it starts anew, but at the same time, I don't feel like it has the same lineage as the original Divas, the Women's Championship that it had. So, I would really keep it back as the original design. If you want to put it as like, white strap, red strap, whatever, go ahead, go for it. I'm not going to, argue with that. So Charlotte becomes the women's champion, and she says that all the success is due to her. She just starts getting just this giant head. She gets this massive ego, and she's saying that it was all because of her that she is the women's champion. And this slowly turns her to being a heel. She actually assaults Naomi, Paige, and Becky Lynch and says that I am a one-woman dynasty and I'm going to be standing on my own. She holds the belt above her head. And we get to see Naomi versus Charlotte at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which unfortunately Charlotte wins due to Ric Flair coming in, getting involved, and getting the win over Naomi with the natural selection. We then go on to Survivor Series, which of course we see Paige versus Charlotte, and of course Flair gets involved again, helping Charlotte retain, I should say. Same thing happens at the TLC pay-per-view, where Paige unfortunately loses because of an exposed turnbuckle that's in the corner, and unfortunately it happens again at the Royal Rumble. Charlotte beats Becky Lynch, but after the matchup, Charlotte beats down on Becky Lynch until we hear Sasha Banks' music hit. Sasha comes out and she stops the assault, and she hits the bank statement on Charlotte, which eventually forces her to tap, and she holds the Women's Championship high above her head, saying, "I'm coming for this." So we then go into a gauntlet matchup at the Fastlane pay-per-view, in which we see all the women, all the divas getting involved in the matchup, and in the end, it's between Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, and Charlotte decides to attack them both and saying, "Hey, now nobody's going to fight me at WrestleMania," because earlier in the night she defended that Women's Championship against Brie Bella and successfully won, because Lana gets involved, and we could talk about that in a different storyline. Well, actually, I already went into that in my last, Change the F Up for WrestleMania, so go ahead and check that out. So we go in towards WrestleMania, and we still don't have a number one contender. Becky says that she wants the championship. Sasha says she wants the championship. Paige even gets involved and says, "Hey, I'm the one that started this revolution. I deserve the championship." So Stephanie decides, okay, all of you make a fair case, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to have a series of matches, and each person that wins that matchup will be added to the Women's Championship matchup at WrestleMania. So we have Becky Lynch against Natalya, in which Becky wins. We have Sasha Banks versus Naomi, in which Sasha wins. And we have Paige against Tamina, in which Paige wins. And the week before WrestleMania, they decided to pull a fast one on Charlotte. They said, we want to make sure that Charlotte's on her A game. We want to make sure that Charlotte is ready for a fight when it comes to WrestleMania. And Charlotte just goes and says, "Who is my opponent then?" And then we turn to the camera, and you see the smile of one NXT Women's Champion, Bayley. That's right. She's getting a warm-up matchup before her match with Asuka at NXT TakeOver Dallas, in which we see, the Women's Champion beat the NXT Women's Champion. Charlotte comes out victorious against Bayley. So WrestleMania comes around, and it's a Fatal 4-Way elimination matchup. You have Charlotte versus Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks versus Paige. And in this matchup, it is amazing, because honestly, you guys, this is where it caps off the finals of what will be the end of the Divas Revolution, but it also starts the beginning of a true revolution with the women. And in the end, Sasha Banks comes out victorious, and she wins the WWE Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Now later on in the year, you can have Paige win the title, you can have Becky win the title, and you can have Charlotte kind of, drop her dad and still maybe create a new, like I said, create this new women's four horsewomen deal, which you can have her, Emma, Dana Brooke, and Alexa Bliss, and they would be taking on Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Paige, and Bayley at SummerSlam or at a TakeOver event, whatever works out for them. That is how I would change that revolution when it comes to the Divas. That is going to wrap it up for Change the F Up, guys. Let me know what you guys think about it, and I will see you guys on Sunday for my interview with the one, the only Ariana. Happy SummerSlam series, you guys. I will see you guys later.